This is for the guys in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. If you are not working on your balance regularly, you are setting yourself up for a higher risk of injury in your ankles, your knees, and even your back. In this video, I want to show you 3 simple postures that you can start doing on a regular basis to improve the strength of your core, your ankles, your hips, your knees, and your spine. I'm also going to show you variations, so if you want to make it more challenging, you can scale with time. Even if it seems a little simple at first, be sure to stick around for the full video. It does get more challenging as we go. Enjoy. Hey guys, I've got Dr. A here from the Fit Father Project. We're going to be doing some basic but very effective balance postures here to help complement some of your workouts and make sure that you are strengthening your balance, not just from a strength perspective, but also the skill perspective of getting your balance in.
Well, I'm excited. And I just want to say that when I've studied longevity, one of the best things for brain health is coordination. That's why they find that musicians, they are typically have healthier brains because you're doing a lot of independent coordination. And whether or not you play an instrument, like these exercises you can sprinkle into your training will give your brain a new kind of input that won't just train your muscles, but your whole neurologic system so you're healthier long term.
Yeah. It's a great way to start the day. So, balance. Cool. All right, so the first pose we're going to do is actually on 2 feet. But even on 2 feet, it's a challenging exercise. And even the way that we get into it is going to work your balance. So go ahead and step to the top of the mat for me.
This way?
Yep, you're good there. All right, you're going to stand on your right foot. You're going to bring your left foot back just a little bit here. And I want you to start shifting that weight into your right foot. So really press your right heel into the ground.
I'm there.
So that you feel your glute working, right? We're starting to feel your abs engaged. We're keeping the spine neutral. So we're not letting your butt poke out behind you, but trying to keep that engaged. And then from here, really shifting into that right foot and then lifting the back foot off the ground and stepping it back so that we come into this very engaged in that front leg.
I'm there.
Okay. So hips really engaged, right? Glutes working. Your back heel is going to be off the ground a little bit. So this is where some of the balance ends into this, right? If our foot's fully planted, a little bit easier, but with that back heel off the ground, now we're actually working balance a little bit more. And so here, this looks really good, right? You're really strong through your hips. Because your knee is past your toes, I'm going to say you can probably get your leg back a little bit further. So edge your back foot back a little bit more. Good. So knee is over the ankle and the front foot. Right now that back heel is off the ground a little bit more. We're going to push that back heel toward the ground so we actually get some ankle mobility. Oh, also, make sure that you take your shoes off for this. We were talking about this before, but especially guys who have office jobs or you just have to wear shoes all the time, getting your shoes off your feet and letting your feet breathe, being able to work on that mobility, really important. Okay, now from here, we can also add some other strength elements. So to start, I want you to push your left foot away from you and squeeze your right foot forward as well. So the legs are kind of creating a opposing forces action, right? And this is going to cause a little bit more isometric engagement.
I feel it.
Cool. Now, balance-wise, you want to focus at a non-moving point at eye level. So find a very specific speck on the wall.
I got one.
Look at that. Good. And also, Dr. A is pretty strong. So he's not falling over here. If you notice that you are falling over, I like to say that whichever leg is forward, use some support on that side. So if your right leg is forward, you can use some support like a wall or a kitchen counter if you're at home or if you're at the gym, some piece of exercise equipment. And then we're going to squeeze the legs toward one another. So now your right leg squeezes back, the left foot squeezes forward. So now you're going to feel more inner thigh engagement, right? So yes, we are practicing the skill of balancing here, but what we're also doing is also building the strength of balance. There's so much that goes into working on balance. Your hips, your ankles, your core, your glutes, proprioception, just the brain aspect of where is your body in space.
Yep.
So, all right, cool. Go ahead and relax. Yeah. And again, we were here for about 90 seconds, so right, pretty challenging exercise.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Both legs in different ways. Phenomenal.
Yep. All right, let's balance it out.
Okay.
So same thing. I want you to start with the left foot forward now. And then very slowly, we're going to shift that weight to the left foot, right? Kind of come. And this is something to develop over time, but you can also work on, right, even kind of how slow can I get into this position? Okay. Cool. So we've got the knee over the ankle and the front foot, pressing the left hip toward the ground. something that people tend to do here, I'll just aim straight forward. So something that people tend to do is this front hip tends to hike up a little bit higher. So if you can really push that heel toward the ground, drive the hip down, you're going to feel better glute engagement there.
I feel it.
Cool. All right. So back heel is pressing toward the ground, feeling that gastroc or your calf opening up. We're also feeling hip flexor opening up here through the right hip flexor. Now, something I'm going to adjust here that I didn't do on the left side. I want you to drop your right knee about 3 inches. Yep. And then reach your tailbone down. Get a bit of a neutral pelvic tilt, right? So we're moving more into a neutral spine as opposed to arched lower back.
I feel a little more stretch in my back quad and my left glute turned on a little bit more.
Yes. All right. So now keeping that position through the spine, that length through the lower back, right? So before it was a little arched. Now it's a little longer and straight. Now I want you to tighten the quadriceps in your right leg. Yep. And then lift the back knee a little bit. Right. So now a little more lengthening through the psoas.
Totally.
Right.
That's subtle.
Yep. So that little shift, especially, and that's also a nice way to ease into it. That's a good thing to bring up here. You never want to jump straight to end range. We want to find something that's comfortable, something that's maybe a 3 out of 4 to start, and then we can go deeper. But find something that's manageable first and then increase that intensity. And as you can tell, we've got plenty of time to ramp up. So as long as we're holding this for a good amount of time. Yep, even lift that back knee up a little bit more. Good. Okay. Now, legs pushing away from one another. We won't do this as long as on the first side because less time, but... And then even shift so I'm going to have you shift back a little bit so that knee is passing a little bit past the ankle. Yep, I like that. That looks good. And in terms of the weight, you want to feel that your body weight is in your whole body here. We want to feel the weight in the quadriceps and the knees, but we really want to feel it first in the hips and the core. Okay, so don't put all the weight in your front leg. Make sure you're using that back leg too.
Yep.
And then we're going to squeeze the legs toward one another. So now opposing. So now the left leg squeezes back.
Yep.
The right foot squeezes forward. Almost as if you're trying to, if you were on skis and you're trying to, bring one of them forward, bring the other leg back. And then you've got your point on the wall that you're staring at. And we're breathing slow and controlled in and out of the nose. All right. And now Dr. A's not letting this show because he's got his game face on. But he's probably really tired at this point. Go ahead and relax. Good job.
You knew, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd be cooked too.
That was great.
Yeah. Hey guys, 15-second break here. If you are in your 40s, your 50s, or your 60s, and longevity is your goal, I want to invite you to do our 30-day Manful Yoga Challenge. It's free. It's right here on the Manful Yoga YouTube channel. Go ahead and click the link below in the description and join me when this video is finished. Next pose. Straight into it. So now we're going to do a very basic balance pose, just standing on one foot. And this can teach us a lot. Very basic, but it can teach us a lot, and it can also really help. So we're going to stand on both feet, face a non-moving point straight in front of you, right? Find that specific spot on the wall. And then very slowly, we're going to shift our weight to the right foot. Okay, shifting to the right foot, coming up on your left toes. Now, as you do that, you're going to feel, right, you're going to feel the weight in the right leg now. I also want you to really drive down through your right heel. When you do that, you're going to feel your glute engage. Make sure that your hips are directly over the heel, okay? So don't let your body be in front of you. Make sure you're not leaning back, but directly on top of the heel. Now, with that engagement, we're going to very slowly lift the left knee up to hip level. Good. So this is our basic balance. Now, you want to make sure that if you're doing this on a surface that's a little wobbly, just take into account if you have a really spongy yoga mat, it's going to be difficult. So sometimes I actually will stand off to the side if I feel a bit wobbly and stand on firmer ground, but just be aware the more padding you have can make that more difficult. So the right leg is firing no matter what, right? We're really active through that right leg, but I also want you to challenge the left leg. So think about lifting that knee up until you feel your hip flexors really getting tight, kind of that crampy sensation. If you want to make this even more challenging, you can put your left hand on top of your thigh and have this little battle between your hand and your thigh. Thigh pushes up, hand pushes down. Yep. This is really good for also getting that transverse abdominis engagement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're here for 45, 60 seconds, right? Lots of engagement, lots of shaking. If your ankles are moving, that's a good thing. That means your body is going to adapt to this. And go ahead and relax. Basic, right? But so effective.
Love it. I think something that helps me is when I'm loading that stance leg, put your hand on your upper glute. You should feel some muscles turn on. You know, the mistake is if you allow this hip to sit down here, all this gets soft. Feel this pushing through. You can tactily feel the glutes. That's important.
Yeah. And if you notice that you're having a bit of, if you notice that you're having a bit of trouble with the balance and you're so wobbly that you can't really focus on the pose, find a wall, find something to hold on to. I always say it's better to develop proper technique with support than to do something janky without the support. Again, use your tools, use your props, develop strength, then remove later as needed. All right, let's go to the other side.
Okay.
So I'm going to stand in front of you. We'll get a different angle this time. Face that way for me. Mm-hmm. That way. Thank you. All right. So we're going to stand on the left foot now.
Okay.
Right. Shift that weight over to the right. Yep. And then really drive the left hip down. Squeeze the right leg up. And by the way, you're going to notice immediately that one side is better than the other. So just looking at Dr. A here, his left leg looks a lot more stable than his right leg. Yes?
Right now, I'm getting into it. We'll find out in a second.
Yeah. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. So fun fact, if you kicked with your right foot, you're actually left leg dominant. So think back to your soccer playing days or if you, but whatever leg that you kick with, that's actually not the dominant leg. The one that you plant with is the dominant, and that's going to be the stronger leg. So we're focusing on that non-moving point at eye level.
In there.
Right? Hips are above the heel. I want you to actually lock out that left leg. Yeah. Good. So locking out that leg, really keeping the quadriceps engaged, right? The knee is driving up into the hand if you want to make this a little more challenging. And then think about getting the top of the head up to the ceiling as much as we can. You'll feel a little more length through your abs as you do that, right? So pretty much everything that we do here is a really good opportunity to work on your posture. In terms of your foot, make sure that you're pushing into the ball mound, the big toe ball mound of the foot. So it might be, you might have this tendency to lean toward the outside of the foot. Try to continue to push down through the inside of the foot as well. Yep. And then we're here for about a minute. That slow, controlled breathing is going to allow you to stay focused. We're going to get tired as we're holding this. This isn't easy, so just be aware. It is hard. Yeah. All right.
Good.
Go ahead and
that's
relax.
why I think the importance of barefoot, because I'm really feeling like I'm building the arch of my foot as I'm kind of like activating and kind of scrunching those toes to stay stable. Phenomenal. Really good for long-term health to have strong feet. We all know if you see someone who's unhealthy, not mobile, they're in their 7th or 8th decade of life, they take off their shoes and they have hammer toes, flat foot, like you lose your ability to translate force through the ground. Any amount of springiness with youth is due to having strong arch activated feet. So this balance stuff is foundational for that.
Cool. All right, let's get into our last pose. This is probably the most challenging one that we've done. This is also going to require some hip mobility, but with the right tools and probably some good instruction, we can make this happen.
Okay.
So if you've got yoga blocks, I'm going to grab these guys. So we're going to set up your yoga blocks like this at the mat. That's near the top of the mat. And if you don't have yoga blocks, you can use foam rollers. You use stacks of books. And if you are really inflexible and you're like, I need bigger blocks, then we have these things, which are really cool. So we've got the big blocks. We've got the standard blocks. Choose your poison. So we're going to start in the high lunge position that we did near the beginning. All right, so let's come up near, we'll just do that.
You want me to use these blocks?
Yeah, let's do it. Cool. All right, so we're going to start in the high lunge position, and your feet are going to be about 6 inches behind the blocks.
Okay.
So that left foot back too. Yep. Good. So, here we are. All right, so we're starting in the high lunge position, and a lot of the things that you're going to do in this pose are very similar to what we did in the high lunge. So we want to keep the hips squared forward. We're keeping our spine in that neutral position, right? We're not letting our butt stick way out behind us. The core is engaged. And then from here, we're going to lean forward, put your hands on the blocks. And then very slowly, doing your best to keep your hips squared forward and down, you're going to lean forward into your left leg, pick your right foot off the ground, and basically try to put your body into a T shape. Okay, so if you look at Dr. A here, doing our best to make a straight line from this back heel through the leg, through the head, through the back to the head. Chin is going to be tucked. He's going to look pretty much straight down at the ground here, not down behind him, but straight down. And then doing a really good job with his spine here to keep that straight. Again, you want to think, okay, punch to the stomach. Let me engage my core. And not only are we using the standing leg, we're also using this back leg. So he's actually squeezing this leg upward, right? This leg is really active here. If he were inactive, so be lazy with that back leg, so what it looks like, that's what it would look like. But he's actually squeezing this leg up. Length through the body, lots of hamstring opening in that standing leg, lots of wobbling as his body adjusts. And he's feeling his weight is evenly distributed on that front foot. It's not toward the front, it's not toward the back. Both parts of the feet are working here.
Yeah, this is great.
All right. And then go ahead and come back. Take a little break. So we've got a lot of strength work there, right? That stabilizing hip is really active, but we're also really opening up the hamstring.
And I'm learning in that position how much hamstring flexibility translates to balance in any kind of hinged forward position where my center of mass moves in front of my body, which is anytime we're picking something up, a grandkid, a kid, so it's like flexibility and balance. Whoosh,
Yes.
and strength.
Yeah. Also, you don't want to be that guy who, right, can't put his shoes on. Hamstring flexibility.
Truth.
All right. Other side. So once again, starting in that high lunge position, hips are squared forward. We've got a nice strong base here. Good. We're going to lean forward, hands to the blocks for support. And when you're ready, slowly lift that back leg off the ground and come into your airplane. Good. So first thing we're going to do is really drive down through the right foot. So when that right leg is active, the leg's going to straighten a little bit. Now, as far as how much do you bend your knee, you don't have to get your leg totally straight to be able to do this posture. And we've got the blocks here. So this is going to take away a lot of the required flexibility. If the blocks don't work, if you have a coffee table, if you have a couch, you can do anything where you're just putting your hands on it and then doing that airplane. That works. Once again, we do want to keep that back leg active, so you're thinking about squeezing that leg up. With the toes, you can either point the toes to reach them back and then really create length, make your body as long as possible from the toes to your head. You can also flex the toes toward the shin if you want to work on ankle mobility in a different way. So keep the back leg and those toes active. Yep. And then, so we're trying to keep the hips squared forward and down. One problem that I see sometimes is if you externally rotate that hip and really open up, kind of opening up to the side, it's not a bad thing, but that's just not what we want to do here. So try to keep the hips squared forward and down.
Yeah, it changes where the weight is in my foot, and it shifts all the way to my this arm right here, so not as good for sure.
Yeah. And then in terms of block placement, bring your blocks forward just a little bit. Yeah, and I think that'll feel a little better.
It does.
Cool. All right, go ahead and relax.
I think one of my favorite things about this type of exercise is that it takes my mind and it occupies it in a couple different points. When I'm doing that, I'd say my mind feels like my focus is divided into like 3 or 4 areas. One aspect of it is creating this lengthened position, like a long straight line. The other aspect is feeling that glute chain driving up. The other aspect is holding this leg and these arms anchored. So it's like, that's why I think we feel so present in these activities, because they involve specific focus points for us to rest an active, busy mind onto a series of execution things, and we end up feeling peaceful. Like, I don't know how much time I was in that posture because I was so present, and that's the beauty of this. Like, we can mindlessly do curls, but you need to be full focus to do this kinds of exercise, which is also great for brain health. One other thing that I'll add, I know this is not a formal posture, but this is actually a test that we do in some kind of medical applications to see how healthy people are neurologically. You can even stand here and do this with safety. You can stand here just in good position, and you can close your eyes. And this removes visual feedback from a balance perspective, and you can see what this feels like. And if you have the ability to safely get up on your toes and maintain an up toe position, even getting higher with your eyes closed, it requires a lot of proprioception for balance, not relying on visual input. It's quite challenging. So consider even something like that to play around with, and it's like practice. You can build this over time, and as you gain more mastery over your balance, you're literally creating neurologic connections. So this is the amazing part about our brains and our bodies. We train, we're repatterning neural connections, and your brain is growing. It can grow and change and improve until the day you die if you do training and input. If you sit on the couch and you're literally a vegetable couch potato, you will deteriorate. If you do Manful Yoga and Fit Father Project, you get stronger over time. That is the direction of life energy. This is the direction of moving forward in life, not backwards. And that's what we're about, and helping guys do this in the back half of life. So thanks, Dean. My glutes are cooked. So facts. Hope you enjoyed today's video.
Good job. The law of forward motion. See you on the next video. Be sure to watch the rest of these videos. We've got a lot of these.
Bye, guys.
All right, great job on that, guys. If you didn't do as well as you thought you would, I encourage you to practice balance on a regular basis. It is part skill and part strength. It takes time and investment into it to be able to get better at it. But once you do, you notice that strength. It feels better in your whole lower body and in your core. I've got a great routine specifically created for guys 50 plus in mind. You can go ahead and click over my shoulder to check that out now. Shout out to Dr. A for joining me on the channel. Make sure you follow him, link below, and be sure to subscribe and like the video. Hope to see you on the next one.